Chapter 4. Planning the Approach. We've all heard that it takes 7 touches, or marketing messages, before a customer actually buys. Why is this? It's not because people need convincing from 7 different messages. It is because they need to actually pick up the message in their awareness. It takes repeated exposure until a message becomes familiar enough to get past our subconscious filters. Every day, our brains expertly filter out 1 million or more pieces of irrelevant data to which we're continually exposed. Our subconscious has to say, "Wait, that looks familiar or relevant," before the brain will even bring it to the conscious mind for processing. Humans have survived this long by being able to filter out massive amounts of irrelevant information and focus on the most important for survival. Eons ago, survival depended upon the brain's ability to recognize the subtle difference between bushes blowing in the wind versus the movement of a saber-toothed tiger. Today, survival, or at least prosperity, depends upon our ability to recognize patterns in data and make wise business connections. To get hired, you need to gain the awareness and interest of the hiring manager. Here's a real-world example. Bo Eason is a former NFL football top draft pick, and he shows how to get the attention of the right people. Here's his story. Eason suffered a tragic knee injury that ended his 5-year football career. As he was being carried off the field, he imagined his future. He saw himself in an orange jumpsuit in prison due to his life's passion and training to aggressively hit people. He was scared. Then he imagined a different future. He was on the stage channeling his energy and physical prowess into acting. Eason enrolled in acting school. While there, he asked his classmates, "Who is the very best actor?" They said, "Al Pacino." Eason replied, "I'm going to talk with him and learn to be the best." They of course laughed, but soon he got the appointment and pulled up in front of Pacino's house to chat. Eason asked Pacino if he got requests like this all the time. Pacino said no, explaining that everyone else only wanted the name of his agent or an introduction to get a part. "No one really wants to know how to be the best," said the great Al Pacino. Many months later, Eason had a profound "I made it" moment when he looked down from the stage and saw Pacino sitting in the audience. Their eyes met, and Pacino simply nodded his approval at Eason. This was the highlight of Eason's career. Why do I tell this story? Because it leads us to the next step, how to speak to and write to a stranger, like a hiring manager, so they actually care about what you have to say. This involves copywriting. As the VP of HR for a large and successful company, I get lots of calls and emails from people asking for a job, a donation, or the opportunity to sell me stuff. Every day, no exaggeration, I get calls and emails full of generic buzzwords asking for 10 minutes to discover my needs, which really means tell me your weaknesses so I can promise to fix them for a price. Business relationship expert A.J. Harbinger compares this approach to panhandling, simply asking for something with no business context or value for the other person. He explains why this leads to discomfort. The sales rep, or the job seeker, hasn't earned the right to your time and your personal information. That takes trust, and simply asking for something does not build trust. Don't get me wrong, you can certainly gain and build enough trust in 30 seconds to ask questions and engage someone's time. Just don't start right into it with an uncomfortable interrogation without any context to the relationship. This applies equally to asking for a sale as it does for asking for a job or an interview. Whenever you contact someone, make sure you give them something they can use, even if it's one tiny thing to help them improve. During the last month of my senior year in college, I applied for no less than 150 jobs over the U.S. They were mostly senior-level marketing jobs that sounded fun and prestigious. On an average day, I might upload my generic cover letter and apply for 25 different jobs, barely reading the job description, and certainly not engaging with anyone inside the company. If I got one email response back that day, it was a victory, because at least I knew the application had actually gone somewhere other than the incinerator in the HR department. After getting no interviews, I realized there was a lot of room to improve my approach. What was I doing wrong? Shouldn't businesses want a bright young college graduate like me? I'd even worked my way through school and had a decent resume. Eventually, I realized what was wrong. I looked and sounded the same as all the other freshly minted business school grads marching out of the factory in tiny little suits, spewing the same business jargon. Why would the recruiter respond to me? People don't respond to generic machine-like communication found in emails, resumes, or job applications. This is understandable because you don't respond to machines either. But what if you approached a recruiting manager or a hiring manager the way you communicate with your friends? Would they feel more compelled to reply? Absolutely. Communicating what's in it for them. We want to do the opposite of this poorly written email that I received just the other day. It says, "Hi Ben, I'm reaching out to express interest in this position that you currently have available. I'm interested in this position as I really enjoy working in this industry. As a member of the blank team, I would be able to utilize my analytical skill as well as my skills as a trainer, mentor, and in employee development. I believe in providing the best customer service to my customers. Many times my customers are the internal staff, and this then filters down to the external customers. I am an energetic go-getter. I am a highly engaged professional who is looking to capitalize on my strengths as a leader, manager, and creative problem solver. I hope that you will favorably review my application and find that my skill set is a match for this position. I look forward to hearing from you soon. Respectfully." What's wrong with this? It's polite and positive, right? Wrong. Is this how you'd communicate with a friend? No way. The email is out of context. Picture the scene. I'm sitting in my office scanning through emails between meetings. I'm looking for some interesting news or an update on a business contact. All of a sudden, an unsolicited email from a stranger arrives talking about only one thing, them. I read it quickly, looking for value and relevance to my situation, but it sounds exactly like all of the other job seekers in the world. Because I'm a nice guy, I wish them well, thanks for replying, good luck, and leave the decision to the screening process. Then I move on to the next message, meeting, or project that holds relevance to me. It used to be said that when it comes to getting noticed, content is king. That's no longer true. Now context is king. There is so much quality content easily available these days. What matters now is making your desired content available exactly when and how you want to consume it in the very moment that you want it, within the context of your life or the audience's life, the hiring manager's life. The email that I just read to you is out of context because it requires me, the audience, to do a lot of work to see if this applicant, who seems like all the rest, is truly the one. That's what recruiters do. They screen out unqualified applicants for me, so I only look at the very best to make an efficient hiring decision. I don't need more emails that cause me more work. I want solutions that are easy to identify and highly relevant to me. So you say, well, Mr. Smarty Pants, how should this be written then? Let's walk through the right process. Suppose you want to work in my HR department. A first draft of your email goes like this. Hey Ben, I saw you ran a hiring event at your company last month. Looked successful. I want to learn how great companies like yours recruit. Can I help promote you at the next event, simply as a volunteer, no strings attached? I love the world of HR. I am the HR manager at Entropov.com. I recruit college grads all the time. I bet I could get you in front of lots of talented recruits. Please let me know if you're interested. You're probably saying, well, that's easy for Joe, this applicant. Look at all the experience he has to offer. The reality is, Joe is an unpaid volunteer, extern, with Entrepov.com, Entrepreneurs Against Poverty, my nonprofit. He chose the title HR Manager because he felt it would be the best title for him to land his dream job as an actual paid HR manager. In the coming chapters, we will discuss how critical it is to have the right job title matching whatever your dream job happens to be. There's a common saying that the best people to hire already have a job. I'm not saying it's a good saying or even correct. It's just a very commonly held belief. It should also be enough to convince you to set up the title you want as a volunteer and get to work building expertise in the industry using the methods outlined in this course. Now, back to writing messages that actually get read. There's a formula used by my favorite blogger, Neville Medora. First, be unexpectedly personal, plus benefits, plus value to them, plus personal close, equals get past the delete button. Now, let's use the above email to see if it fits the formula. Be unexpectedly personal. This sender mentioned my hiring event, followed by a 2-word sentence, looked successful. That sentence would not be written by a corporate sales robot. Benefits. He offers to help me with my next event. What's the value to me? A zero-cost help and potential exposure to his followers. Personal close. I bet I could. Sounds like a friendly challenge between friends with nothing to lose and everything to gain. Let me know if you're interested. Doesn't reek of the desperation many such emails exude. As you know, the email headline is critical. I'd recommend for this email saying your hiring event on, then the date. So it has immediate context within the receiver's life. This email is better and technically fits the formula, but does it really make you excited to read it? Not quite yet. Let's try again to really amp up the unexpected part and simplify it. This first draft could be filtered out as too complex for the recipient's self-absorbed brain. We've all got one. Let's make the audience realize you're a real person who can relate to him. See if this sounds better. Hey Ben, your Facebook post about last month's hiring event was awesome. Was that your drone that shot the footage? Anyway, I'm a student of HR trying to learn more about the recruiting world. Can I call you to chat about hiring events and maybe even help you with the next one? As a volunteer, of course, no strings attached. I have some fun ideas that seem to fit your recruiting strategy. Love to learn more from you for my studies. Thanks. Best, Joe Smith. That was much more interesting and simple, right? A rewrite to add fun, clarity, and personal relevance means everything. Copywriting expert Neville Medora takes his copy to the next level by asking, how can I rewrite this to make it as funny as possible, or as crazy, or as happy, or as unexpected as possible, whatever tone you're going for. He says to push past the limits, then dial it back to land on just the right tone and interest level. For example, in the email that I just read to you, I first started with the formal and boring salutation, hello Ben. Then I pushed it to the extreme, yo Ben. Then I dialed it back to hey Ben, which is just right. Now let's fix the email subject line. When writing an unsolicited email, you should spend as much time on the subject line and first few sentences as you do the rest of the entire email, so you can get past the recipient's big brain filter. Here's an option. Subject, your Facebook post. This makes the recipient curious and maybe a little worried to find out more. Use the same 3-step approach for your message subject line. Make the first draft as relevant and personal as you can, then take it to the extreme using a tone that you feel would work best, and then finally dial it back to the right intensity for your third and final draft. Now it's time to find out what your hiring manager cares about.